it's really about you deciding that you are ready to release whatever's holding you back. You are listening to Turn Your Soul On Radio. I am your host and visionary doctor, Dr. Brandy Victory, and my mission is to assist high-achieving women in closing the gap between feeling unfulfilled to living a life on fire. It is time, ladies, to champion our own lives and turn ourselves on. This is Living Victoriously, ladies. This is how you turn your soul on. Hello, beautiful ladies. It is about to get really, really real up in here. Oh my gosh, I was so incredibly triggered the other day. I just about lost my shit, okay? I was listening to a podcast that she was doing, and she had this invitation to reach out to anyone I have muddy waters with and clean it up. And, that sounds reasonable, right? But I totally got triggered on that shit. Oh my gosh. I got so triggered that I literally had a stomach ache. Okay. That's how bad it was. And I've made it a practice for many years to make it a point to leave no trace. You know what I mean? To clean up my past or to clean up my relationships if I end a relationship. And I want to be able to leave my life with a clear conscience and to know that I'm not carrying any karma from this lifetime into the next. If that's how it works, who really knows? But I want to feel clear when I leave my body. And this invitation that she had, she was like, I want you to think about that person or persons that you have muddy waters with. And when she said that, this one person popped into my field, and I seriously almost wanted to turn the podcast off. That's how overwhelming it was for me. I mean, it was crazy, my reactivity. And I get, when I look at the big situation, it's really not about how that other person feels about me or anything like that. It's really about how I feel about myself. And that's really what it was, is, when I was younger, and this relationship was 10 years ago or something. And when I was younger, I was pretty unconscious to a large degree, and I didn't know how to be in relationship. And I navigated the world through my first chakra, through my ability to control people and just different things like that. And it was really not a really great place to come from. And I didn't really like it when it rose up inside of me. And what happened was, when she mentioned that, this person popped into my field, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I never really did anything bad or wrong, or I don't know. It was just this feeling inside of myself that made me sick, because I was thinking about how I used to show up. And this person I really, really respected, and I still do. She's an amazing woman doing great things in the world. And our friendship didn't go where I would have liked it to have gone. And maybe I just have chewed on that for a while. And then I just buried that. Clearly, I just buried that under the rug, because I never really addressed how I felt and how I might have shown up and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was really interesting to see that. I'm interested, for you, if you have that person that you have, or persons that you have left relationships with or have muddy waters with in some way. Maybe you're still in relationship with them and there's muddy water. What it would feel like for you to rise up to that invitation and clear the water for yourself. Whenever we have things that have gone awry or that were dysfunctional, that haven't been cleaned up, it really affects how we show up in the world. It affects the choices we make. It affects, it's kind of like this little nagging voice in the back of our head that's just constantly there going, you fucked up, you fucked up, you fucked up, you should have done this, you should have done that, you were horrible, da-da-da-da-da, whatever the story is, right? And if you want to let go of those stories, which you have to let go of those stories, okay? You're listening to this because you want to be in a different place in your life, and you have to to let go of those silly little stories. And the only way to do it is to face your shit. Okay. So clean that shit up. All right. So when all this came down, I actually was like asking my guides if I actually needed to really reach out to her, because I do a lot of energetic clearing work, and I could just clear this right out of my space on my own. And, we can do that. Right. And I got a resounding, yes, you should call her. And of course I was like, oh crap. Like, this isn't going to be a very comfortable conversation. All the clearing is good, but just literally speaking my truth to her and owning my shit would be the best way to clear this out of my space in the fastest way. So I did. I reached out to her, and it's interesting because this was like I said, 10 years ago, and to realize I'd been carrying this burden for 10 freaking years. Now I've been doing a lot of work on myself. I've been working on myself for 27 years. Actually, I started coming into this work 27 years ago, and I've come to learn that I am freaking phenomenal at pushing stuff down, burying it under the rug, and really just so deeply that I'll forget that I even had a specific experience. If I thought if it was an uncomfortable experience, I'll just shove that shit way down and forget about it. And the thing is, I've been recently doing a lot of work around my first chakra and letting go of my ego attachments to who I believed I was in regards to money and sex and survival and my earthly offering and relationships and, all this first chakra stuff. And when we have interference in our energetic area, specifically in the first chakra area, which is like the root, right where our perineum is, right where we touch the earth with our body. When we have dysfunctional patterns there, even if they're subconscious, okay, even if you think you've gotten over them, but you're still, something's rising up in you and tingling in your tummy right now, then, maybe there's something here for you. And these dysfunctional patterns cause us to show up into the world in certain ways that are disharmonious, and they're not honoring of our soul's calling. They're not honoring of other people on the planet. They're not honoring the planet. They're not honoring what we came here to do. They're just really these programs and patterns that just gnaw at us and eat away at our soul and cause us to not be who we want to be in the world. So for me, it's a driving desire to clean up the energetic patterns in my field so that I can experience wholeness in my life and specifically around this wound, okay? I want to experience wholeness in every area of my life. This is what my spiritual practice is really all about. This is why I've been doing this work for 27 years, and every day I do feel more whole and complete within myself. And this is why I share this work with as many women as possible, because in order to create the reality we desire and to rise up to our greatest offering, we must heal our past so we can let it go. The wounds that we're holding on from yesterday are still oozing pus if you're holding on to them today. The subconscious doesn't understand time. It doesn't understand that happened when I was 6 years old and it was 40 years ago. It doesn't happen. It doesn't know. It just is. The wound is there in the energetics, and you have to let them go and clear them up and heal those spaces within yourself so that you can be a bigger and brighter light on this planet. This work's way bigger than just simply saying your affirmations, right? So we're all like, oh, I believe I can, I believe I can, I believe I can. And yes, that is something that you want to do. Those are good things to do. But you also have to be willing to release the energetics that keep you stuck in your past and stuck in your wounding. All right. It doesn't matter what your wounding is. Even if someone has victimized you, it is your wound and you must heal yourself. I have a woman that I work with, and she told me that she thought she would feel so much better once her abuser died, and she didn't. She's the one that is wounded. And healing wounds only happen from the inside out. Like, healing happens from the inside out. This is it. And it was just really challenging for her to go through that whole experience of abuse, and then she got away from it, but it never really, it was really hard for her to heal. And then her abuser passed, and it was she thought that she was just going to, okay, he's dead, he's gone, that's better. And then she was going to be over it. But it doesn't work like that. Your wounding is your wounding, and it's your responsibility to heal it. It doesn't matter what kind of wounding it is, okay? I know that's really, really difficult to take when you've been hurt, okay? I get that, I do. And I'm just telling you, like, you have the ability to heal yourself. You have the ability to let it go. You have the ability to forgive. You have the ability to recognize that we are all human, doing the best we can. Maybe those people don't seem like it, but when you're ignorant, you just don't know. And I didn't know 10 years ago how I was showing up in the world and how I impacted other people. And now it's come to bite me in the ass. Or not bite me in the ass, but it's come to reveal itself to me so that I can heal my own wounding, right? So I'm just an invitation. It's seriously just an invitation, and I'm here for you, lady. I'm here for you, okay? But just know that your wounding is coloring your actions and your perceptions of this world. It's controlling you in a really big way, and, it may seem like you are over it, quote unquote, over it, and maybe you are, and maybe you're not. It's been 10 years since this woman has popped into my head. Actually, you know what? No, it hasn't been. She would come in and she would just come into my field, and I would say a prayer for her, because that's what I do. When people pop in, especially people I haven't seen for a long time, I'm like, oh, they need some healing work. So I say a prayer, or I offer healing for them, and that's that. But it's so funny because I wasn't able to even grasp that she was coming in so I could heal my pain. All right. So if you want something different in your life, ladies, step up, let go, check in. Maybe a prayer is enough for you, or maybe a phone call is your way out. If that person has left the world, maybe create a shrine for them, honor them. I know that's, that can be a challenge. I get that. But, it's really about you deciding that you are ready to release whatever's holding you back. It's you deciding that you're going to reclaim your wholeness. And in order to do that, you have to let go of the pain, of the wounding, of the victimization, of the hurt. And to forgive literally means to let go. So you just do your best. And it's not just the words, I forgive you. This is a deep in your heart and really forgive. Not just like lip service, right? I don't know. There's this really great show. I love this show I'm watching right now. It's called Westworld. If you haven't seen it, you have to get it. It is so amazing. It is about, essentially, it's about AI becoming conscious. But they're not like, they don't look like robots or computers. They look like humans, and they've been built to be of service to humanity and this world where you can go and do whatever you want there. It's like the Wild West. You can shoot guns, you can drink beer, you can go to a brothel, you can kill people. But so you can go there and you can do anything you want without any kind of consequence. So the AIs are the quote unquote people in the world, in the West world, that you can kill and screw and all this stuff, okay? And this show is about them gaining consciousness and becoming conscious. And it's incredibly beautiful. And it's incredibly revealing in so many ways about how we get stuck in loops, how consciousness arises, and how, oh gosh, I can't even begin to tell you how much I've gotten out of it. I actually want to buy the show, and I don't own any TV shows, okay? I own none, and I want to own that show. There's this character, his name's Bernard, okay? And Bernard has a kid who died at age 8. And he keeps remembering this experience of himself in the hospital with his kid when his kid dies. Okay, he keeps remembering and remembering and remembering. And what he comes to is he comes to understand that I don't want to give the story away. Oh my God, you just have to watch it. But what it basically boils down to is he starts to realize that he has to let his kid go. And I mean, this is a parent and a child. This isn't just your ex-husband who was an abuser or whatever. This is a parent letting a child go. Okay, probably the hardest of all hards. And he came to understanding that he had to go back and let his child go, because it was the one thing that was holding him back from achieving what he wanted to achieve in his consciousness. So anyway, I'm just sharing that with you. Go get the movie. Let me know how it's going. It's fantastic. And then explore what is holding you back. It has to be shown. Your guides are sitting there waiting for you, girlfriend. All right. Big love to you. Big hugs to you. Your heart is held in mine. And do whatever it takes to turn your soul on. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Turn Your Soul On Radio. Go ahead and subscribe below. And if you feel it's worthy of a 5-star review, I'd greatly appreciate your support in this way. If you'd like to go deeper with me, you're welcome to join our private Facebook group, Turn Your Soul On, or take it to a whole nother level and apply for my 4-month Turn Your Soul On Masterclass. You're welcome to do this at drbrandyvictory.com. Whatever you do, turn your soul on.
This podcast is for information purposes only. Dr. Brandy Victory is not a medical doctor, and the views and statements expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Dr. Brandy Victory and the producers, disclaim responsibility from any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.